Welcome to the New York Times Popcast. You're more than just a kiki of weekly cultural review. I'm John Caramanica, a critic at the New York Times.
I'm Joe Coscarelli. I'm a reporter at the New York Times.
I'm Pusha T. I'm one half of the Clipse.
And I'm Malice, one half of Clipse.
Patty cake, I'm the Clipse are here, Pusha T and Malice. We're going to talk about their very deep catalog, their work with Pharrell.
You are now listening to the real Clipse.
Top down, chrome spinning.
Pusha's solo work with Kanye.
Yeah, it's prime time, my top back, this pimp game.
Their new album that's coming out very soon, Let God Sort 'Em Out.
You was Fuji La La, I was Alibaba.
This is their reunion album after almost 15 years. So we're going to talk about what it's like to reunite with your brother on record, the public fracas that Pusha T sometimes finds himself in, and how that informs his art. And we're going to talk about what it's like to buy your independence back from a record label to save your soul.
Thank you for being here, guys.
Now, here we are. We are more than 20 years into the Clipse adventure. And yes. I do at least want to call out one thing, which is in 2006, cover of Mass Appeal magazine. It's the first time I interviewed you guys. This is in the sort of intermediate period between the We Got It for Cheap mixtape series and Hell Hath No Fury. Right in the middle of that. And I wonder, one of the things when I went back and revisited the transcript from that conversation is that both of y'all had what I would say would be a healthy skepticism about the systems that you were putting records out into. And almost like a doubt, like, look, maybe this is going to work. Maybe it's not going to work. Maybe we'll sign a label deal. Maybe we won't. These mixtapes, Malice, you even said you were resistant to doing mixtapes that time because you're like, why would I?
I remember.
I don't do mixtapes. I do albums. Yeah, like I do albums. I don't do mixtapes.
Yeah.
I wonder if you think about the kind of unsteadiness of that moment almost 20 years ago, and now here we are. I wonder if you can identify moments that really felt like it tipped the scale back in your favor. Because I think you were like the most touted underdogs at that moment.
Specifically, a moment during that time was the Knitting Factory show.
Oh, yeah.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday.
So the Knitting Factory show was, well, first of all, let me just tell you where my mind was during that time and just kind of how ignorant I was, to everything that was happening.
Sure.
So at this time, of course, Clipse comes out, Lord willing, 2002. 4 years later, we're into Hell Hath No Fury and the mixtape series before that.
Yep.
How I knew mixtapes at that time, it was a bootlegger who would sit in front of Norfolk State University. Yep. You could get any Clue tape you wanted. You can get whoever was hot.
Shout out Cliff.
Yeah, shout out Cliff.
Shout out Cliff.
Cliff been waiting 20 years for this shout out.
Yeah.
That was your mixtape guy.
Yeah, Cliff was the mixtape guy, man. Boom. We Got It for Cheap series comes out. This thing called the internet happened.
Yep.
And man, I couldn't find the mixtape in the street. It was on the computer.
Yeah.
And man, I was enraged.
Because you were used to a hand-to-hand underground.
That's all I knew. That's all I thought. That was like, yo, we ain't out here in the streets. The guys that, I'm dealing with, we're dealing with at the time, they're not downloading anything.
They're not on LimeWire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. LimeWire. So during this time, I was infuriated, man. Because I was even complaining about, even after catching some flame through the mixtape circuit with the We Got It for Cheap series, the people who were gravitating toward the mixtape circuit was like white college,
hipster
Clipster. Y'all remember Clipster?
Oh my God, Clipsters.
So
you know who you are.
Yeah, and again,
and we appreciate.
Yeah, we love you. So at the and we were like, damn. But then still, I'm angry because it's not what I know or what I resonated with in regard to where I thought the energy was. But basically what was happening, it was changing right in front of our eyes.
And you guys, I think, were really maybe the first to truly benefit from that transition of the online conversation, the 1.0 blog era, download sites, mixtape sites, etc. And I think it also opened up the eyes of a lot of people in the music business about, it's not just one path that a record can take.
Right.
Because prior to that, again, the song on the radio, we're getting a song on BET, and that's the road.
And you had that with grinding and whatever. You went the straight path.
Right. Yes.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it was
the shake
how do
up.
we reinvent?
Right.
Then when you start to see it in the flesh. So
let's talk about the Knitting Factor show, because that was a wild night.
The Knitting Factory show just, in hindsight, for me, it just makes me think of everything we were taking for granted. I didn't know that there were kids who were going to show up in baked jackets and pointing at jeans and pointing at the shoe. And I didn't know that it was that type of fan out there.
Mm-hmm.
You
had no way to see them.
No
previously.
way. No way.
Didn't even know they existed.
Didn't even know, couldn't be in a room with them. Didn't know what rooms they were in.
Right. When we got on stage, I was like, wait a minute. It's a sea of kids in this shit.
Mm-hmm. Not
only were they just word for word with the mixtape bars, they were like, oh, he has on the general jacket from da-da-da. He got on the O2 such and such is, and the
kids were keeping up like that.
I didn't know they were keeping up like that. And that's when I realized, like, oh, there's a whole nother thing to tap in on.
And you weren't alienated by your clientele being white college kids, because we had RZA here recently, and he said when they went on the Wu-Tang tour with Rage Against the Machine in the 90s, different guys in Wu-Tang reacted differently to going out and seeing white faces, basically. Like, oh, this isn't what we thought we were doing. This isn't who we thought we were talking to. It sounds like you guys saw it as a moment of opportunity.
Absolutely. Thinking back, we were actually the first rap group to perform at South by Southwest.
Mm-hmm.
So, just to see, to discover a fan base that we did not even know that we had.
Yeah.
And we had to play to it. That's who was coming out, and it was electrifying. It was a great energy, you know what I'm saying, to see it. And we never lost the streets. The streets were always still right there, but the people that were coming out and going crazy, I mean, stark raving mad was the Clipsters.
And so then you guys have this period of acclaim and shine, and Hell Hath No Fury finally comes out, a huge critical smash, a commercial hit as well.
I know, yep, yeah, you too. Okay, we get it, yep, yeah, you too.
You ride the Clipse wave for 5-ish years at that point, right? Is that
3?
Only 3. So that's
6 to 9.
Even that's crazy to remember,
Yeah.
right? So Till the Casket Drops comes out in 2009, and obviously there's a lot that happens in between, but we haven't heard a Clipse album again until now. Talk to me about first splitting up. When was the conversation, Malice, with your brother to say, hey, I need to take a break from rap?
So, we were actually in California, and we had met with Rick Rubin. And
the pilgrimage.
Yeah.
The Malibu pilgrimage.
No phone, no shoes. Yeah. So, we were talking, and I can recall listening. I'm listening to my brother and Rick Rubin talk about, things that we should do, things, just how everything was going for us. And I'm thinking, they can talk all they want. I'm about to leave, but I had to entertain the conversation.
But you knew.
Yeah, I knew in my heart. Like, I knew, that I wasn't going to continue. And it was that very night after we left Rick Rubin, had a great conversation. And we get back to the hotel, and we're in the elevator, and I told my brother, I'm not going to be able to continue doing this. And around that time, we were entertaining thoughts of doing separate solos at that time.
Sure.
And, I just told my brother, I said, I think it's about time, since you're already entertaining it, you should just go ahead and do your solo. And
you'll step back.
Yeah, because I had like things on my mind. And I knew it was like, time to, take a step back.
How surprised were you? Because one thing, having interacted with you on and off over the years, you seem to have a very, very close brotherhood, like a true close brotherhood.
Yeah.
Right.
How often is it that Malice says something that actually surprises you and catches you off guard? And how caught off guard were you in that moment?
No, I mean, I don't think I was caught off guard at all. I think that I knew what he was feeling
Yeah.
the whole time.
How would you describe what it was he was feeling?
Oh, he was man. He felt cheated. He felt cheated. In every sense.
Mm-hmm.
In
By the
every
business.
sense. Yeah, by the business for sure. We were cheated.
Mm-hmm.
We were cheated. With that being the case, it was a fight that we didn't really need to be fighting,
Mm-hmm.
and that to me brought a very unfair and uneasy feeling with Malice in particular. At that time, I feel like I was just like, man, we just gotta keep peddling. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Just to
Keep the name out there.
just to keep the name out there. You know what I'm saying? But I knew it. Like I knew it. I knew exactly how he felt. But that's just how we are, I think, as brothers too. I don't think
Mhm.
we're connected in a way that we don't have
Without
to.
saying.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
don't have to say
yeah.
The
much.
show go on now.
The show goes on, but
The show always
artistically,
go on.
but
Yeah.
the artistically, I always just felt like we were so much better.
Yeah.
My mindset was just like, we couldn't stop, or I definitely couldn't stop knowing, like how much real estate we had like left on the table.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted, there was never a point where I wanted to stop.
And Malice, I think people who've paid close attention, they know you spent some time following religion, and your father is a deacon in the church. You guys grew up around the church, like you, and you spent some of that time off when you're not rapping, pursuing your spirituality. Is that fair to say?
Yes, it is.
And how much of the decision to step away from hip hop then was like a moral one to you? Were those things connected? Did you feel like you were putting bad energy into the world? Did you feel like there was something unholy about what you were doing as the Clipse?
For me, myself,
Mhm.
yeah, definitely. Like I had become, if you ask me, quite friendly with the world.
Mhm.
Too friendly.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Quite friendly with the world. And I can also say that my thing was always to go out, do what we had to do, and then come back home.
Mm-hmm.
Then it got to a point where on the day scheduled off, it was always something coming up, a new check. And then you got your boys with you, you got your road managers, and everybody's trying to make money. So, you take them into consideration
course.
as well. I had to be able to live with myself at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? And look at myself in the mirror. So it wasn't lining up with who I truly was. Yeah.
But then here we are all these years later.
Yeah.
Is there some separation in your mind that you can better make between Gene the man and Malice the
I
character?
can tell you right now, I don't have no attachment to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
No attachment to nothing. I enjoy being with my brother. I enjoy the music that we make.
Right.
This is the rap I love.
Right.
The rap that we do, the creativity that we do. This is what I enjoy.
One thing that was on my mind, because I want to get obviously to Let God Sort Him Out and kind of the specifics of this record, but as I was listening to this record, we were talking in the elevator, I'm like, I know these raps. Like, I know, these are, it's like bone deep at this point. Like, I understand the structure, the patterns, it's like you've lived with them for so long because I've been listening to you for so many years. I wonder, you guys as formalists, as technicians, as constructors of rhymes, constructors of 16s.
Yes.
When you look at younger generations that don't make rap like that, are there people who still stand out to you as technical innovators, even if they don't do the thing that you guys do?
Man, I'm what I see and what I respect, first and foremost, is how the newer generation really gets it out the mud.
Mhm.
They get out the mud. They bring together their fan base in a way that is very rabid.
Yeah.
Very rabid.
Mhm.
And I mean, if you just sit back and just culturally look at like just certain events, if you look at the you mentioned Rolling Loud. Rolling
exactly.
Loud.
You played Rolling Loud.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you mentioned Rolling Loud. You mentioned complex cons
Yeah, sure.
or things. You get to see how rabid the fan base today
Yeah.
of these kids are.
Mhm.
So you appreciate it more on an entrepreneurial level than on a musical or technical level.
Well, yeah, definitely on a more entrepreneurial level. But I look at guys and I can tell who lives it and who believes it.
Mhm.
You know, I know, like, regardless if it's not what I do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So that's what you're looking for, more than a technical approach.
Yeah, more than
it's
a
an
technical-
emotional approach
Yeah.
or a philosophical approach.
Yeah.
Well, you were early on Chief Keef, for instance.
Exactly.
Like you brought Keef to Ye and to the good music
1000%.
fold, and you
I
said,
wanted to
this
sign
kid
the
knows
whole,
what's going on.
all of them.
Right.
Pay homage or case vomit, ungrateful niggas I don't like.
And that was because of the energy and because of the authenticity, not
Exactly.
necessarily because of the rapping.
Yeah, 1000%.
Mhm.
You
It's
know,
always been about that.
they
with
made
us,
me
though.
believe it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
saw the video and I'm like, oh, I believe all of this. And I don't know them from a can of paint.
Right.
But whatever they did in that video, I was like, I believe it.
Pop bitch, that's that shit I don't like. Nah, I got a bad bitch, yeah, that bitch right.
I look at the King Carsons and the whole Opium Collective.
Yeah, sure.
Destroy Lonely and Cardi. I look at what they do and I'm like, damn, like you really got them round up. You rounded everybody up and they're here.
Yeah.
They're here for it. I respect it. I don't want to do it.
Right,
You know,
it's-
it's what
I mean,
they
they're
do.
post-
You know what I'm
There's no
saying? I
mosh
can't.
pit
Yeah, I
for
can't.
Pusha T show.
And they're,
Yeah.
in my mind,
We do
post-
mosh though.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
yeah,
there's
We
some
mosh.
mosh.
There's some
We
mosh.
mosh.
Kids can mosh to anything
Yeah.
these days.
it's real like that collective in particular, and that's to me very post structure, right? It's like
Yeah.
you guys are building the house,
Yeah.
and their whole thing is like, what if we take the bottom brick out and watch
Yeah.
the thing fall?
Yeah.
And it still sounds good. It's just
Amazing.
a different approach to the thing.
Yeah. I mean, listen, even Future doesn't 16 like I 16.
Yeah.
Now I know Future word for word.
Mhm.
So, you know, with that being the case,
But you think of someone like Future still as an MC, even though
One.
he's in the booth
Oh,
sort of
it's-
working it out as he goes, and you might be...
yeah, but nah, there
pen
is
and
a
paper.
Future definitely is he just probably he constructs it differently, but that's real.
Yeah.
That's a real thing.
Mhm.
That was a real thing. I mean, yeah, I remember I had writers DMing me on why I put Future on Pain
Mm.
on my album
Yeah.
in 2012. I guess probably one of the first, lyric driven rappers who
Looked out and
was
embraced.
like, yo, I want him.
Right.
I mean, I dare not say his name, but man, every time, he says something great about Future today, I just DM him like, hey, bro, I ain't gonna tell it, but and even with what he does, it's just very, very,
Sure.
very real thing. It's just different vibes.
But you don't lament the fact that this style is not at the center of the genre.
No, man,
Nah.
nah.
And
Nah.
we're talking about what we're talking about is an age gap, right? A generation gap.
Yeah.
And when
You calling me old?
Look, none of us are young anymore. We'll put it
Nah.
that way.
Right.
You guys in your 40s?
Yeah,
50.
50 even?
Almost there.
52.
52.
Almost
right.
there.
yeah,
Almost there. 49.
yeah. 48.
And so when you hear someone like Andre 3000, who also sat on this couch with us, say, what am I going to rap about as a 50-year-old? Colonoscopies? Like, how does that make you feel as somebody who seems to have no shortage of lyrics left?
Well, for me, it makes me appreciative that I still believe in what I do.
Yeah.
I'm probably begging Andre for a verse
Like right
probably
now.
every month, every month or so.
Just
like,
send him a
yo,
quick text.
Because we
Yo,
know he
yeah,
can still
yeah.
do it. If he's inspired, he'll still do it.
dog. Yeah,
I think it's being inspired. Sometimes people get in different situations in life where rap is not at the forefront. You're thinking about
Right.
other things. You're thinking about the issues of life. But yeah, your talent is always your talent.
We're also from a generation, I think, where it was explained to us that rapping was not forever. It was a young man's sport.
Yeah.
You didn't have
Yeah.
Jay in his midlife rapping really well era. You didn't have rappers that were signed to deals and put out 10 albums. People came and went. And I think that was what was handed down generationally to say, okay, you can do this in your 20s, but once you hit 30, 32, 34, and also
Get yourself a car dealership or
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
And,
Yeah,
but not
yeah.
to mention, you know, they would say that rap itself wasn't going to be around.
of course. So
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
you know,
Don't
don't
bet
put all
on
your
it.
eggs in this
Yeah,
basket.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the fact that you guys are here at this stage rapping with the same kind of like ferocity as the records from 20 years ago, to me is a testament that it has so little to do with age. And also it's about how broad the genre is now, right? You can do
Yeah.
what you do, have your audience, be successful. Opium guys can do what they do, have their audience and be
Yeah.
successful. That's not how it
Yeah.
was in 96, 92. It wasn't like that. You had one shot,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Very, very true. But I do think that this is the era, and when I say this era, I'm talking about this Clipse,
Mhm.
2002, from where we're from.
Yeah.
I think this will be the era that proves that it doesn't have to age out ever.
Right.
Before us, you got Hove. He has so much mogul shit going on.
Right.
So I think our era is like, competitively doing this right now. I don't think Hove had to competitively.
Right. Rap is
Rap.
still your main
Yeah,
thing.
like,
Right.
yeah.
Rap is not his main thing.
Right,
Rap is something he
exactly.
does when he feels
And I
like it.
think all of that comes from our era.
And Malice, you were talking about needing that inspiration, Andre 3000, finding it, once every couple of years. When you're back home in Virginia, when did it strike you again?
Yeah, it wasn't even about inspiration. It was just about where my focus was at the time. All this time off, it has been a beautiful time of reflection, growth, learning. Not only that, but as I'm sitting back and made my departure, I'm watching
Right.
so many people falter with what I was going through. I'm watching it. You know what I'm saying? I see sorrow. I see depression. I've seen murders. You know what I'm saying?
Drug addiction.
You're seeing Ricos. You're
Yep.
seeing sexual addictions. You're seeing a whole bunch of stuff. Like I'm watching it, and all people have to do is like, yo, it's okay. Take time for yourself. Get yourself together. But some people can't let go. Because I've done that, now I am able to, come back with my brother and go at this thing again or whatever.
One thing, when I was going through the old transcript, you guys referred to Hell Have No Fury as, before it came out, as an emotional drug record, which I thought was a great term. But one thing that I've always felt with both of you guys on Clipse albums and also individually is you're hinting at internal struggle, but you're not necessarily putting it right out there. And on this album, the new album, right in the first song, you're leading with that.
Right.
And I wonder if you can talk about the decision behind, I know you lost both your parents in relatively quick succession a couple years ago. I'm very sorry about that.
Thank you.
Leaning into the choice to not only rap about it, but also lead with it.
I think the idea to lead with it on the album, to lead with the record Birds Don't Sing, came from the process of creating the record. I think the process was unbearably hard.
Yeah.
So much so that we were like, man, this is the hardest record. We got hard records on the album, but no, the mentality of this and just the depth of this and the process of it was so hard that I knew that this was going to touch people. And I felt like we should get that. We should pull them in with that.
Trying to navigate life without my compass. Some experience death and feel numbness. But not me, I felt it all and couldn't function.
The safe thing to do is you make that the final track.
Make
right?
that
That's
the final track, man.
The song
no.
about our parents, that's
No.
the final track.
No.
Not here.
It was too important. Too important for so many reasons. It was just something that couldn't be ignored as far as tackling the subject matter.
if you guys were going to get in the booth,
Yeah.
it was the thing that was right in front of you.
For sure.
Yeah.
Also reuniting as brothers, coming together as a family again, and as what remains of your core familial unit with your parents gone, like to reintroduce yourselves that way. Did that feel important to honor your parents and how they raised you? Did that feel like the right way to reintroduce yourselves as a unit?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, my dad and my parents, the way that they parented us, I think that's a narrative that needs to be spoken about. You know what I'm saying?
You want to center that.
I think people need to hear it, especially in our community. And it's okay if you didn't come up with both of your parents, but you can change it if you want to, if you have kids. And I think it's very important, it's very important that we be there for our kids. It's funny because I've always seen my brother, he really never played about that. You know what I'm saying? If you weren't taking care of your kids, you can't come hang out with us in the club. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see you nowhere around me. If you're not doing nothing for your kids, what kind of friend can you be to me?
This is going all the way back.
This is man.
Before you had a child.
Before kids, before he had a son. We just knew that kind of etiquette. That's how we looked at it. You know what I'm saying? But it's cool. You can't help how you come up, but you can make changes.
Are you also a parent as well? Or?
I am. I'm a parent. I'm a grandparent. Yeah, I'm a grandparent. It's crazy. Yeah, but I am.
Is there an intersection with that? Joe was asking about morality and kind of your decision to step back and kind of the narratives that get put out, on these records. How has parenting or just the act of knowing that you're responsible for these lives in the world, how has that changed your thinking about whether it's creativity or the message of the songs?
It's made me conscious of, but I've always been conscious of the things that I say, the things that I put out into the world. Said a lot, and a lot of things I knew better then, but the fact that I did it, I still talked about it. I hear from the listeners and fans and people who appreciate our music, or even if you don't appreciate our music, how I've always painted both sides of the picture. I recall on a record and on the verse was, I heard them pay for their fix. I seen them pay for their fix when their kids couldn't eat. Well, that was a real line. That's something I really saw, with a mother that I dealt with, and her kids were hungry. And she told him that she didn't have any money, but I know what you just did with your money, and I seen it. And I talked about that, and I talked about how, those kind of things made me feel. It's just reality and just painting it from, from my perspective.
I think that's how I've always seen your music is I think of the Clipse characters as conscientious villains almost,
I think that'd be fair to say.
Bad guys with hearts is sort of the image that you two have put out, and it is there's something about being as brash as you wanted your music to be, but then cutting it emotional drug music, as John said. You've always balanced that, but the other thing is that you want to live by a code. And even if you're a villain, you have to have a code, and I think that's something that you're I'm going to do.
Honor amongst thieves.
Right. When I'm going to do, when I'm doing right, I'm going to do it a certain way. And when I might be doing wrong, I'm still going to do it a certain way.
Yeah, that's what you tell yourself to help you feel good about it. Of course. That's what you do. Yeah.
We're all compensating in our own ways.
Does that ring true to you, Push? Because I feel like you've done a little less maybe of the
stepping back.
Yeah, the stepping back, but you also have that balance in your lyrics.
I think because the way I was raised, and particularly from my dad, I've always looked at music as more creativity and entertainment, and never thought or cared about what I put out there.
Like the ethics of it.
Yeah, the ethics of it. because that was not an excuse I got to lean on.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
At
I didn't
home.
get to lean
Yeah.
on excuses like that at home. Like, you know, the music didn't make me do it.
Yeah.
You know, like the music didn't
like, I
make
can
me
say
do it.
anything in the
yeah,
music.
like I
Yeah,
could say
it's
anything in
fair
music.
game.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is like there were no excuses like that got to
You were stupid.
you were stupid. Exactly. My father will come. It's my dad's birthday today.
Yeah.
You know, like
Happy birthday.
yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
happy heavenly
Yeah,
birthday.
yeah.
Yup.
So we could sit down and like man, I'll never forget. He took us to the movies to watch. It was Chucky or no, it might have been Freddy. And you know, of course, we come back home. He's scaring me because of Freddy. And I'm younger. I'm scared. I'm crying. I'm whatever. And my dad is like, he does not understand. You know, I'm the fool. I'm
Right,
I'm the
right.
youngest one and everything.
Yeah.
No, even at a young age, you better have some like,
Yeah.
you
None
know,
of that
some
foolishness.
none of that. Yeah, you better have some common sense. You know that was a damn movie,
Right. That's
you
not
know,
real.
and
Yeah.
it's not real. I think, you know, with that being said, like, you know, I remember playing NWA in the car and,
Oh yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and, you know, him listening to it and being like, you know, like, you whether he liked it or he didn't, it was there. And he was like, okay, you know,
He was open to the
he
idea.
was just open to the idea of, you know, what it was. Now, he would have his opinion about it, but like I said, the way I was raised, I wasn't able to lean on excuses, so I never felt like I had to watch what I said musically or what I put out there.
I mean, he didn't. But meanwhile, all of his friends end up in jail.
You know,
All
Yeah.
of them.
Mhm.
Like all of them.
sure.
So, you know, for him, great, you know, but for everyone else, not so much.
Right,
Yeah,
living your raps can come with risk if you don't know how to navigate properly. It sounds like you have a healthy understanding of perspective of what's the difference between entertainment and reality.
Right.
But not everybody does.
Yeah.
Right.
Listeners or performers.
Just I feel like with the whole, you know, parental thing, it's like, man, I cared about them so much too. Like even in a sense of like never disappointing them. I was raised to not disappoint them too.
I wanted to ask
You know,
how are
it's
you guys
like-
as parents? How are your households? Are you
Oh,
strict
man.
households? Like
I'm a terrible parent.
Say more.
Like,
say more.
No, man. I mean,
lenient.
I reward for bad behavior.
you're soft. You're a soft parent.
Man. I am soft, man. I am 1,000% soft.
You're the pushover.
I am totally the pushover.
Is that a reaction you think to how you were raised?
Nah, man.
Or-
My dad was cool as hell. Like man, I'm here today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my wife and my son are home. Like they're in Virginia.
Hello to
So when I come home, I can't look at my son and get into reprimanding him about hardly. I mean, it better be crazy.
Right. Wait, I'm curious, Malice. What about you?
I pretty much raised my children. They're grown now.
Yeah.
My wife and I got compliments all the time of how well behaved, you know, and mannerable our kids are and
Sure.
were. Disciplinarian, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. But to the good, you know. My kids had a awesome childhood. They love how they came up, you know what I'm saying, and how things are. So yeah.
I really see the big brother, little brother dynamic here. I never been in the same room with you two like this.
I have pictures at my house, you know, of me and my brother. And in most of the pictures, I am looking like I'm just very pensive and he's smiling, like when we're together, you know, and that's something that I noticed just going through pictures. And I think that comes across the exact same way in our music.
I think both sides of the Clipse dichotomy that we've been talking about come in rapid succession on this new album, like God Sorted 'Em Out. You open with Birds Don't Sing,
Right.
about your parents, and then all of a sudden it goes into Chains and Whips with Kendrick Lamar, which is the complete flip side. Was that whiplash intentional?
Yes, man, yes. Because in creating the album, we just wanted to show that everything, and you know, it was hard. And, like this is order after order. Like, and I'm like, nah, man, just every record meant so much, and had, so many different meanings and just deep and people were drawn to, just certain things and verses and so on and so forth. We just wanted to show that, we can punch you this way and we can punch you that way. Mm-hmm. You're getting different colors, but they all hurt in a certain way.
And that record, Chains and Whips, specifically been done or not done, but has been in the hopper for a long time.
Yeah.
In 2023, when I was with you in Paris with Pharrell, that was something that I remember P played me. It was like, this is, that was maybe the first time I even knew that there was going to be an actual Clipse reunion as opposed to a rumored Clipse reunion,
Yeah.
Right,
And debuts then at his opening Louis Vuitton show.
Yeah.
That's right.
Uncle said, nigga, you must be sick. All you talk about is just get rich. Choke my neck, nigga, and ice my bitch. Beat the system with chains.
Years ago at this point.
Right.
So
pre-Kendrick though.
There was no Kendrick verse in the
or
runway show.
Yep.
It's been 2 years since then. There's been some conversation already about this song being a holdup for the release of this album.
For sure.
Talk to me about what a lyrics committee does at a major label as far as your understanding and your experience.
Yo,
what is a lyrics committee for our listeners?
Listen, and this is what this is how I understood it initially. The lyrics committee, from what I understand, was supposed to, take your music, make sure there aren't any interpolations,
secret samples.
It's a copyright check.
Basically, that's what it's supposed to be. Since 2018, it was for me, at Def Jam, a way to censor my music or a way to make sure I wasn't having any subliminal disses or anything in anything that I did.
Yeah.
That's how it was used for me.
And your first experience with that was in the middle of your back and forth with Drake with Story of Adidon?
A baby's involved, it's deeper than rap. We talking character, let me keep with the facts. You are hiding a child, let that boy come home. Deadbeat motherfucker.
How did that conversation go, and then how does that lead into what happened with Chains and Whips?
After Adidon, or whatever, there were quite a few records that were stopped, yo, we're not doing this, or was, just basically shelved. And it
Your
was
verses,
my
instance, on
verses,
the Pop Smoke album,
Pop Smoke. But the telling part was when they would get the lyrics wrong.
Oh, sure.
So it one day I forget what song this was, but there was a Pop Smoke song that definitely was that had bars in it
by you.
But then there was another that didn't, and they thought it did, and I was like, wait a minute, what is going on here? Because you're interpreting something totally wrong,
like two different songs,
right?
Both with lyrics by you, one with a message and the other without a message.
Exactly, and that's when I knew, like, wait a minute. I was like, Steven, is this shit? Are you serious right now?
To your manager,
right? Yeah. I'm sorry.
We know.
Yeah. So I'm like, wait a minute. This is something this is a thing.
Yeah.
At this point,
in your mind, they were being overly sensitive about you rapping about another artist signed to that label. Drake, a huge artist under the Universal banner. And they were sort of playing referee. He was getting Shea Gilgeous-Alexander calls, is what you're saying.
For sure. For sure.
And at that point, you said, all right, I'll keep it moving. You put out Story of Adidon on SoundCloud instead of commercially. The Pop Smoke verse
that happened.
Removed.
The verses get removed. A couple verses get removed. I move on.
Right.
I just move on musically.
Right.
So then, fast forward to 2024.
Fast forward, yeah.
Drake and Kendrick do their thing.
Boom.
Drake files a lawsuit.
Boom.
You play them your new song with a Kendrick verse on it.
Boom.
How do they react?
Now, mind you, the energy up to that point is everybody's clamoring, oh, new album's coming, so on and so forth. Excitement. Everybody's ready. Listen, we 10 songs, 11 songs, 12 songs away. I mean, close. We show up with the Kendrick verse, and everything's halted. It's halted. It's said that it will not be put out. They just didn't want to put it out. They would not speak via email.
They didn't want anything in writing.
Yeah, the label would not send emails.
Nothing in writing.
Nothing in writing to my management. They would call my management, 10 times in a row, trying to get all of this, trying to, just plead their case. Mm-hmm. Now, there was nothing even to be, they didn't like the optic. In my opinion, they didn't like the optics
of two Drake foes teaming up.
Right.
Yeah.
Did there a line they pinpointed?
Censor? They pinpointed a line where the phrase "Trump card" was used. Mm-hmm. Right. And so stupid. Mm-hmm. Like it's like the phrase "Trump card" was used, and they said that they didn't want any problem with Trump. Or something like that as well.
Unrelated to...
Yeah, unrelated.
Totally
even unrelated. Yeah, totally unrelated.
Just a Trump...
Yeah.
A Trump,
yeah.
So you felt like they were looking for something?
Of course. They were looking for...
To halt the optics.
1,000%. That's my opinion. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion.
And how did you guys take that? They said either censor this verse, take him off, or what?
Well, we ignored it because it was so crazy to us. We like, nah, this can't be real. This can't be real. So we ignored it. And then one day, I believe it was Steve Gawley made the call.
A lawyer
at UMG and was like, hey, look, I'm not stupid, guys. You guys aren't stupid. You guys aren't, changing anything. We'll drop the clips. Pusha has to stay. And
as a solo
we'll just have to move on. But that doesn't work.
Sure.
Right? That doesn't work. Ultimately, we were like, yo, what's the way to do the business? Like, how can we, buy ourselves off of this label?
Right. And Steven Victor, your manager, gave an interview with Billboard. He said there was essentially a 7-figure payment to free you guys from your contract.
Yep.
They're going to take a little bit of profit off of this new album.
Yep.
So here we are 20 years later, and you're still in the
label
thick of
drama.
It with label drama.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, was that dispiriting to you when you're like, all right, I'm back. I'm ready. I feel good. I'm centered. And yet here I am.
I want to know this answer because I never asked.
All right, let's find out.
Like, were you like, I'm too old for this shit.
Not even. Because like I said, I'm not attached. If it go down, great. If
it doesn't, also fine.
It still don't. But like I
worried about that.
I mean, like I could vomit every time I have to hear about somebody else's name in our interviews. That we can't just get back to the music and to deliver what it is we're trying to do. All the red tape, all the politics. I don't like nothing about it. But I'm cool because I've seen it before. I didn't expect much to change. The only thing I'm elated about is, like I said, to make the kind of music that we make, and just to be arm in arm with my brother while we out here doing the things that we have to do. But I don't like any of that.
Push, I'm curious how you feel about that because you have 20 years worth of music under your belt.
Yeah,
classics to many people, and yet there are still people who only know your name in association with the names of other artists, whether it's Kanye and Pharrell, people you've had fruitful creative partnerships with over the years, or Drake, who you had less fruitful,
right.
Well, we could call it a fruitful creative dialogue, some might say. But you're also a businessman and you're savvy about the way you sell your product and promote your career. Like, do you have that push and pull where you think like, man, am I just never going to do an interview without these names being said? Like, does that keep you up at night?
Nah, it doesn't keep me up at night at all, man. Because I just feel like it's the game. And when you're in the game, this is what comes with it. Mm-hmm. Anybody who's a Clipse fan, a Pusha T fan, if you follow me, like, this is all real shit. This is all very real. This is happening in real time. You get my life in real time usually. If I say it's drama, it's drama. Mm-hmm. If I say it's drama, if I say that it happened, it really happened. I don't have it in me to lie. I don't have it. Mm-hmm. I don't care enough to lie. And as a matter of, like, listen, we paid for it. So it's my story.
Right.
Why wouldn't it be?
Listen, had I not paid for it, you might not get the story.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm. But you made me pay for it. So now this is the truth. And you have it. And mind you, while all of this is happening, I never complained out loud once about it. Mm-hmm. I never complained how the deck be stacked against me. I don't complain about verses and songs that don't come out and whatever. I never complain.
And I think people have taken advantage of the fact that you don't complain, and that you don't snitch, and you don't talk, and people know that you're not gonna say nothing.
That's what they live off that. They know I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
They know that. They know I'm not gonna do it.
They play it, they play it like a card because they know, that's not what you do. And, and the reason we have to go on like this. However the game is played, like Pusha just said, we are going to play it that way. I'm just saying that it's unfortunate, that it has to go that way. When I think about things like censorship in hip hop, rap is like the arts, entertainment. It's like the last frontier for black expression. This is what we have. And for any kind of censorship, it's egregious. It's to even think that could even happen. You know what I'm saying? And you're out here, you're on the road. It's sometimes it's dangerous. Like my brother, he's on the road. Some missing furs, your child's first this, first that, or whatever, and do all of that to be censored. Like, this is how I saw the game the first time. This is it. These kind of things is what I saw the first time, and it's how I look at it now. Right now, it's just, it's just different now.
And you've and like you say, you essentially bought back your right to speak your story.
Right.
That's it. There are some frisky bars on, at least on So Be It at the end. There's some frisky bars here.
As it should be.
You want to talk about the frisky bars?
Of course, whatever.
Talk to me where's TMZ? Is TMZ on the speed dial? What are we doing here?
Then we wait for TMZ to leak it. It ain't no secret, so be it, so be it. Smoke.
That was just my perspective. Like the third verse was my perspective. It all came from actually being in Paris.
So be it, so be it.
This is culturally inappropriate.
Travis Scott, he came through carrying the Utopia briefcase.
Right. Yep.
Doing his whole promotional spiel for his album.
Yep.
He comes, he interrupts the session. The next day, the meltdown verse, or whatever comes on.
I melt down the chains that I bought from your boss. Give a fuck about all of that heritage shit.
Drake on Travis Scott talking about melting Pharrell's jewelry.
and all of that. And I'm just like, man, that was a corny. Like, you shouldn't have been here anyway.
If you knew you had
no, you didn't have to be here anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't, him specifically too. I don't take it as personal as I should. It's Travis. He's harmless. Like, I'm not into what his whole makeup. I just, I took it there.
Her Utopia had moved right up the street, and her lip gloss was popping. She ain't need you to eat.
I took it there, and
because you felt like he was playing both sides.
Yeah, just playing both sides, and that's corny to me. And I've done a lot to get away from that.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I'm working on a Clipse album. I'm working on a Clipse album. I'm in with my brother and P. That's our circle.
That's the unit.
That's our unit. I'm out of that mix. I've been out of that mix. I know where he gets it from. That's fine. I'm cool. I'm done. And then to come back in our fold. To come to
make
invade,
a point
to invade the fold, and then do all that he did. It was like, man, that was corny.
Needless.
But I will say again, he's shameless. He does it. You've seen him do it to everybody,
including seemingly to Drake himself, right? Like,
he's done it. He's done it to him. He's done it to Ye. Now he's done it. He got to pull it off in this capacity in the Clipse, and it's fine. It's just what he does. I just could not speak to it.
Sure.
I've definitely had to put my hand on your shoulder before. You died in front of me. You cried in front of me. Calabasas took your bitch and your pride in front of me. Like I had to tell you, I had to help you. I did. And it's like, people take that type of shit for granted. I don't take that for granted. I don't. And I don't, but it's fine. Like, like I said, I'm not even.
Yeah, you just put it in the music. So
yeah,
you're
man.
in this air clearing.
So
mode.
be it. So be it.
Right.
That's the idea. So be it. So be it. But I want you. But you need to understand what I think about you. You just need to understand what I think about you.
On the first single for this album, Ace Trumpets, you allude to that situation with Kanye, and you say, some of you guys are still waiting on him, and essentially, I'm done being a part of this, what you guys have termed a mess, and waiting my turn, etc. Like, when you think back on the years that you spent in the fold with Kanye West and Good Music and helping run that business. Obviously, you guys made a lot of great work. Yes. Probably had some great times. Yes. Saw the world.
Yes.
Do you regret moments where you might have held your tongue?
No. It was because it was only me. It was only me. So, no.
So you considered it a job. You're like, I'm here.
Yeah. Only you that could have seen it that way? Or?
No, it was only me that, I don't even know if I ever held my tongue. I always spoke to everything. Mm-hmm. But, I spoke to it. And when I spoke to it, what you do with that information or what you do,
right.
In taking advice or perspective from me, that's what you do. But I don't regret any of it. We made great music. It was a great time.
Did you stay too long?
No. I think that's the problem. I think the problem is I've always had motion. I've always had things to do. I'm not a person who has to sit up under.
Kept yourself busy.
Right. I put out albums. I put out great albums. I would say that I put out some of the best music of the fold. That to me, along with the fact of just me being me, allows me to be, have my perspective, and I speak it.
Is there any heartbreak associated with the fact that the center of that did not hold, and then had to part ways?
It's no heartbreak because he is not a person that we ain't the same. We can't outside of music, we're nothing.
You and Kanye.
Yeah, we can't be anything outside of music. Like, music is where we clicked. Outside of that, his principles, his morals, his mindset, we don't see eye to eye hardly ever.
Sure.
Ever. And we never have. I've said it a lot of times. We don't.
I saw you smiling, Malice, a little bit.
Because I seen him out there. You know what I'm saying? I know what's going on with him. I watch him. I watch him close. I watch him like my mom would watch him, and to know what's going on. And my brother just we come from just loyalty to a fault. If you're my friend, you're my friend. You know what I'm saying? And I just seen him in the mix of people who I don't think reciprocated. I'm talking about, through his career. You know what I'm saying? It's like, to me, he just looked like a lone wolf out there. You know what I'm saying? But, still holding up his principles and his ethics and standing on business the way he stands on business.
Were you wanting to call him back and say you don't have to be the lone wolf?
No, listen, it's good to be the lone wolf sometimes.
It is good
to be the lone wolf sometimes. Yeah, it is.
Everybody knows.
Yeah, it's no
they
sympathy.
can see it. Yeah.
That's how you move out here in this world. You know what I'm saying? If you're a man, that's how you
if
move.
You're a man.
Listen, if
you're a man.
If you're a man.
Only if you're a man, though. Because if you ain't a man,
you in trouble.
You can't move like this.
Yeah.
Well, you got to flip-flop and kiss ass and do all the, backbiting and
reality TV is mud wrestling.
Begging.
A wise man once said.
Yes, it is. Of course it is. Of course it is. Kidding me?
Now that you guys are back. You guys,
come on.
Pharrell, you made a lot of this album in his office, essentially, at Louis Vuitton in Paris.
Looking out over the plaza.
You guys are back together.
Seine River?
Yeah, the Seine
The
River.
Seine.
Seine River.
There you
Seine
go.
River.
Seine.
Speaking of Scene, Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
Is that for the, you call it Wi-Fi for the rhyme, or
Wi-Fi. I was going to Paris. It's Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
is that what they call it?
Wi-Fi. Yes.
International flights connect me to the Wi-Fi. The only way you reach me.
What do you mean?
Okay,
Air
that
France.
was a side note. They call it the
Air
Wi-Fi of Air France.
Air France.
Yeah,
I
didn't-
need
that's funny.
Wi-Fi.
I didn't think about it like that.
I haven't
Wi-Fi.
flown to Paris since they've had Wi-Fi.
Oh,
you know?
come on.
Okay,
funny.
but
Yeah.
so you guys getting back with Pharrell, and yet him and Chad not making music as the Neptunes.
Right.
Is there a little bit of something missing that like you two are together, but Pharrell and Chad are not? Like in the moment when you were ready, like do you miss Chad? Have you spoken to him?
Yeah.
Like what's
Yeah.
the status?
Absolutely, Miss Chad. As far as being on the album, you know what I'm saying. But I'll see Chad in the airport, in the street. You know what I'm saying? At Buffalo Wild Wings,
In VA, the VA.
Yeah, VA. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
whatever they got going on, you know what I'm saying? Just hope for the best for that or whatever. But that doesn't. We're all still, we see each other. It's always gonna be love. Always.
Did you feel like that was missing in the music at all?
For me, no. I mean, no. I mean, everybody knows my favorite album is Hell Hath No Fury.
Yep.
Pharrell did that alone.
Right.
That's it.
Pharrell's your guy. That's your
No, Chad's my guy. I love Chad.
sure.
I mean, Pharrell's my guy.
Yes.
Love Chad too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we're brothers. We came up together. But, when you say missing in the music, there is no missing in the music when it comes to the Clipse. And if it's just P, it don't matter. We're going to find. We find what we find. And just because you use that term, I'm like, I'm going to take you back to where I'm telling you is my favorite ever.
Right.
And I'm telling you he did it alone.
Right.
So that's that.
Can you talk about what you guys bring out of Pharrell?
Oh, man.
Because that to me, like when I hear the beats on this record, if you go back to 02, you go back to those kind of like spare, minimal, hard, organized chaos beats, right? That frankly, not a lot of other people sound good on. There's so much space in them
Just
that
you
they're
and
hard.
Timberlake.
Yeah.
And especially you and Timberlake together.
Ma, what you wanna do? I'm in front of you. Grab a friend, see, I can have fun with two. Or me and you put on a stage show. And the mall kids ask how the chain glow.
But they're almost like hard to rap on because there's so much palette to paint on. When I hear the production, there's so much of that kind of like the wall is tumbling down upon us.
Yeah.
I wonder what it is about y'all that puts Pharrell in that direction, and I wonder what it is about those beats that allow you to be expressive in the way that you are.
I think that the Clipse wants a certain thing and a certain sound, and I tend to believe that we are looking for things that P specifically was a fan of at one point. That we all were fans of. We don't search for sounds, we search for feeling. That's how we make music. We're looking for the feeling.
Restore the feeling.
We're like,
take me back.
What did you feel like when you heard Who Shot Ya? Oh, okay, that can do that. Oh, that fits there. What did the Benjamins feel like? I've never, and it's funny because Pharrell is such a future person that you can't use certain words with him in a studio setting because it ruins the mood.
He doesn't want to look backwards.
He don't want to look backwards.
Oh, interesting.
He don't want to look backwards.
So you have to trick him into it?
Yeah, you got to trick him. You got to trick him into it. And if you don't, y'all may just, stay spinning your wheels.
You mean certain words like old song titles, or you mean certain words like nostalgia?
Don't. Oh my God! Never say nostalgia.
Okay, just check.
Never say. Never bring up.
Lesson.
Never bring up
Anybody
an
in the room
old
with P.
song.
Pharrell will walk out of the room.
Never bring up an old song trying to get your point across. one for one. Like, if you're
Yeah.
speaking about the feeling of or something like that, you gotta talk in all type of fucking codes. It's fucking
adjectives.
It's fucking painstaking.
Artists.
Do you fucking understand me, my man? It's like you have to though.
That's why we have all the big adjectives.
Right.
You gotta keep
Geniuses are annoying.
Oh
right?
my God. But yeah, man, like it don't work like that. Like I think what we've mastered is trying to is searching for a feeling.
Yeah.
Versus a sound versus a drum versus anything. It's always the feeling first. And when we know that that's what we're trying to reach, now I can pull references all day.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can pull references of like, man, that shit was hot, or you want something dark like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can pull that, but like his search is it's always for the feeling and how to turn it futuristically upside down on its head.
Mm-hmm.
So it can get a bit tedious, but I feel like when we get in our groove, like right now, I'm a bit annoyed because we've been separate for a minute. Like, album done, we're on promo, we're doing,
right.
We're doing shit. Who knows what he's doing right now?
Yes.
Who knows?
Designing a hem. For
Exactly.
A pant.
Yeah.
Before we get to a snack, give us a moment, set a scene for us. Tell us a story about recording at the Louis Vuitton office in Paris. Like, what was the most like? You look around and you're like, I can't believe all this stuff is going on at once. Like, was there, when you think back on recording this album, is there a time in that space that you'll remember?
I will say everybody, while we recorded Birds Don't Sing, it was, everybody in the office, sewing, drawing, sketching, crying. Everyone. The whole, because the whole song is a conversation. So it's like just having the conversation and having it out loud and, not being able to finish.
So you're not like behind some
Oh, hell.
200
Was
pound
in that
door.
room. I mean, the room that was sort of has the window that faces out onto the plaza. You did it in there.
In there. And then, there has the doors that can close.
Yes.
But once you open the doors,
Right.
You're right there in the office.
you're in
You
Yes.
see the sewing machine.
the sketch people, the shoe people.
That long table
the hat,
with the
long
round,
table,
the round couch.
They moved the pool table out for for more room. It's a full workspace. That was just a vulnerable recording session, and I'm talking about everybody felt it, and I mean just in a sense of we couldn't finish, and we were I don't know, just trying to put it together. Trying to put it together was tough. I mean, you got to remember, of course, we're brothers, but when you get into the Pharrell of it too, we're all 30
years deep.
Yeah, 40 maybe. Yeah, 40 years.
I don't know.
Yeah,
sure.
I don't even know
sure.
no more. I say 30 because it sounds
Right.
good.
Sure,
No, it's
but
like
it might be.
we're all
The number's too big to wrap your
we're
mind
all
around.
35-year friends. We're all mom and dad,
Right.
speak to, converse with, check on.
Family.
Family. Yeah, really
Family.
a thing. So it was a tough few sessions.
Yeah.
And then he's kind of crazy too. So he thrives on feeling and emotion. So he's just like, man, no, don't let it out the room. More. And so
Lean in, press the bruise.
Put salt in the wound right now. He's gonna pour it.
How much of that was written before those sessions started, and how much of it was written?
No,
as-
it was. This is all in. This is
all
in
in
real
the
time.
room.
Yeah,
All in the room.
This in real time. So he's gonna pour the salt because he don't get out of mad scientist mode. Even in the mix of it.
Malice, what about you? Any days other than that are gonna stick in your memory about your time in Paris?
I guess just being there, so much going on. The runway.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
what the hell am I doing on a
You
runway?
walked the runway.
You know what I'm saying?
As a grandfather.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't make any sense to me. But once again, it's just part of the wonderment that we've always experienced, you know, being with Pharrell and throughout this whole creative process, and just over the years, we always found ourselves in some kind of scenario that we just can't believe that we're here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's still going on. It's still going on to this day. It's still going on to this day. And to record and, you know, in the Louis headquarters is just insane.
Just a reminder that elegant art comes from all kinds of circumstances.
That's right.
All different
That's
places.
right.
Yep.
And you know, just the whole bucket list of like rap and watching rap be in
Every
All these
space,
spaces.
you could
like, you
possibly
know what I'm
imagine.
saying, and like,
Yeah.
and really just taking it to the, you know, just trying to take it to higher and higher heights, man. It's how I want to see it, man.
Right.
It's how I want to see. That's how I want to see the music, man. It's how I want to see hip hop culture, rap, whatever you want to call it, man. This is how I want to see it.
Unfathomable 25 years ago, probably, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I definitely
Yeah.
wasn't thinking this
Yeah, of
shit
course.
25 years ago. I mean, no. I ain't even gonna lie. I mean, I can't even lie to you.
yeah, of course.
Your imagination didn't go that
Yeah,
high.
it didn't. It did not.
You got to understand, like 25 years ago, we were piling up in cars going to D.C. to buy a Louis belt or a Versace belt.
Right.
And now to
One
see that.
for the
Yeah.
car.
No, not one for the car. Don't do that to me. But, you know.
But yeah.
And now to see, like, you know, Pharrell being the head over there at Louis Vuitton, it's just, you know, it's just endless, man. Sky's the limit.
It's unfathomable. You know what else is unfathomable?
These Doritos.
I cannot believe. First of all, I want to say up front, I've consumed no food today.
Okay.
And the first thing
You and
that
I both.
The first thing that we are being forced to eat is this.
And I'm only doing it because it's you.
Only
Only 'cause
listen,
it's
we're
you.
only doing it
You're
because
in the New
you
York
know we
Times.
don't even
This
listen.
You're in the New York Times.
Listen,
All right.
y'all.
So every episode of Popcast, we end with a snack taste test. It's snack time. You guys went to our pantry, which is very full. It's
popping
days.
right
We
now.
got
Yeah.
a lot of junk over there, like a lot of like nuclear-looking junk food, like collabs, flavors you've never heard of.
Korean, Japanese,
Push,
all
you were
kinds.
immediately drawn to what I would like to say is the most beautiful Dorito bag of all time. This
Yes.
is the new golden sriracha flavor. I've had these. I have to
Oh,
admit,
okay.
I can't stop myself when there's a new spicy chip at the bodega. I get them, I eat them. I know John doesn't eat
One of the
spice.
running themes of this show is I do not enjoy spice. So
At
this
all.
is going to be brutal for me. So thank you for that. This is going to be a nightmare for me.
All right, so golden sriracha. What was it? Was it just the bag or was it also the flavor? Are you a sriracha guy?
No. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Sriracha. Yes. Doritos. Yes.
What's your go-to Dorito?
You know, I'm
Mine's Cool Ranch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was about to say I'm a
Blue
Cool
bag.
Ranch or original, and you know, if there's a sub anywhere by me, I'm putting it inside of my
Right,
sub.
Cool Ranch in the sandwich.
1000%.
Cool
So I'm
Ranch
gonna
as well.
Bust these
The
open.
joke on the show is I find Cool Ranch spicy.
Oh man,
That's the
Yeah.
joke on the show. So this clear
All right.
the door.
You guys take as much as you want because again, I've had these before, so I'm just gonna have the one.
yeah,
It's good.
yeah.
It has like a little honey
Oh,
smell to it. Like there's a little tad of sweetness.
The smell is there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's not
Go towards
bad.
the end. Towards the end.
Mhm.
Oh, that's a lot brighter than I was expecting.
Yeah.
It's a lot brighter.
There's a little lime in this
Yeah,
too.
there's
Yeah.
It's
A
not
little
just
lime.
sriracha. It's like
Yeah.
there's
Oh.
other notes going on.
There's a little lime.
I would say it's not even spicy.
It
Not
comes
in
at
any
the end.
There's a follow. I
Yeah.
feel it, the follow, but the brightness up front
Yeah.
really, really shouts out the spice on the back.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. I thought I was going to be
Look, you just need
running to the
experiment
restroom.
more.
Like,
Really good.
Yeah, no, you just
Yeah.
need to.
Really
you just
good.
need to. You just need to be eating more spice because it turns
Yeah.
out you like it.
unbelievable.
great.
All right,
Um,
so we're gonna rank it out of 10. You can have more if you want to have more.
I'm cool,
cool.
but
Yeah.
I'm a 10 on that. I'm
Really,
cool.
10
yeah.
out of 10.
Yeah.
You buy-
Yeah,
you would
I like
buy.
that. Oh, for sure.
Wood cop.
Would be really good on a sandwich.
Yeah.
for sure.
For
I
sure.
could eat the whole bag.
You could eat the
Yeah.
whole bag.
Yeah.
Same. I'm like, I think like I would like a little more kick. I wish it was a little spicier.
Mm-mm.
Like obviously everything is flaming hot now. Like this is like a 5 if like a flaming hot is like a 7.
Like
and
a
half.
spice level.
Spice level.
Yeah.
But what
Okay.
about as a
So
snack?
I'm gonna say overall I'll give it like an 8 out of 10. It's a really nice flavor.
Malice, what
Yeah.
about you? rating
Rank
out of
it out
10.
of
Oh no, I give it a 10.
10
Also
out of
a
10.
10.
I
Two
give
10s.
Yeah,
Also
I
a
give
10.
10 out of 10.
Clipse.
If you can eat it with a sandwich, it's a 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go, honestly, dog, is that a 9?
Wow. John loves sriracha.
I'm stupefied.
And he don't like heat.
I can't put sriracha on food because it ruins
You don't
me.
eat pho?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay.
No.
We're gonna get
Apologies.
pho next time. It's
Apologies
gonna be
to
the
those who
messiest
take me to
snack.
Vietnamese restaurants
Okay.
and
Yeah.
struggle. I think that is incredibly well balanced.
Yeah.
I'm stupefied. That did not go how I thought it was going to go.
A well-rounded breakfast.
Yes, that's definitely. I'm going to eat one of these in the morning now every day. Thanks, guys. That is our show. Malice, Pusha T,
Thank
Clipse,
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Joe.
Thank you.
Everybody
guys.
here's a
Appreciate you,
star.
man.
Really a
Straight up.
pleasure.
Yo, man.
Appreciate
Thank
y'all.
All right. Yes, sir.
Every Popcast ever is at nytimes.com/Popcast. Get us on YouTube for the full interview, youtube.com/Popcast. We're on Instagram and TikTok, also at Popcast. Credits in bio. We'll be back next week.
Yo, I go by the name of Pharrell from the Neptunes, and I just want to let y'all know
I'm your pusher.
the world is about to feel something that they never felt before.